Hello guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk something interesting about HTML, right? So have you ever wondered how a website knows where to place its heading, paragraph, images, buttons, links, forms, etc. right? So every website you visit, from let's say Google, YouTube, to your favorite online store, it starts with one fundamental technology that's called HTML. So in this video, you will learn what HTML is, how it works, how you can create your first web page in just a few minutes. And there's no previous coding experience required, so this is going to start from the beginning. So let's exactly start what is HTML. So in terms of definition, right, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Now let's break that down. So I'm going to use the Visual Studio Code as a editor for this. So HTML refers to the refers to hypertext, that refers to you know text that can connect to other pages or resources, right, through links. When you click on a website and you move to another page, you are using hypertext, right? Something like this, right? So it opened it in a new tab. Let's go back. Now, markup language means HTML uses special instructions to describe the structure and meaning of content. That's markup. And these instructions are called tags. For example, we can tell the browser like this is heading, paragraph, or this is an image, etc., right? Or this is a link to another page. One important thing to remember is that HTML is not generally considered a programming language. It does not perform, you know, like complex decisions or contain a programming language by logic by itself. It's a markup language used to organize and structure content on a web page. When I say web page, this is the web page what we're talking right now. And in a simple way to understand HTML is to imagine that, let's come back here, right? So HTML creates, like, imagine that, website is a house here, right? So let's say website is a house. So HTML creates the structure of house here, right? So it defines where the rooms, doors, windows, and walls should be. And there's something called as CSS, cascading style sheets. It controls how the house generally looks, right? It will add colors, spacing, fonts, layouts, visual design, etc. And there is JS, that is JavaScript, controls how the house behaves. It can make button respond, menus open, forms validate, and content update dynamically. So remember the structure. Now we're going to see how HTML works, right? Let me open back the browser. So when you open a website, your browser, right now it's Mozilla here. So the browser reads the HTML from the top to bottom. It interprets the tags and displays. And when you click right click inspect, you will see a lot of things going on here. And when you click on page source, this might be a little overwhelming, but this is an HTML page here, right? So we're going to talk about it, in more details in the coming sections. But yeah, this is how it is rendering the page or understanding how things look at it. Now come back to our Visual Studio Code again. Like now, let's say you know this is the first file I've created, index.html, and when you're using Visual Studio Code, it's pretty awesome to uh, you know create a boiler template or blank template, standard template in HTML. You just have to type HTML and select HTML5, and it creates a blank template at the by default. So this is nothing but a basic structure of an HTML page. So at first you may look like it's a lot, but every line has a purpose here. So doc type HTML, which this tells the browser that we are using modern HTML. So HTML element, the HTML element, it contains the complete HTML document here, right? It starts here, it ends here. So if you see, everything is under a open and closing bracket here. It starts here, and anything you end, it's here. And the len is equal to eng is an attribute that tells browser and other tools that page content is written in English. And the head section, it contains information about the page that is not usually displayed as the main content. For example, it can contain page title, character settings, link to CSS files, and information for other search engines. And the title element controls the text displayed on the web browser, right? The body contains the content visitors can actually see, starting here, ending here. So anything you write here, that's where they see, like the headings, paragraphs, links, button, tables, and form. Inside the body, if we create something like h1, so this is an h1 tag, right? It creates the main heading. And if you create something like p, so this is a paragraph tag. We'll cover about it, so don't need to worry. So you will frequently hear, three terms whenever you're learning HTML: tags, elements, and attributes. Tag normally appears inside the angle brackets. That is what we saw here. And most elements have an opening tag, some content, and a closing tag, like this particular example we are seeing. And this complete structure is called as an HTML element, right? An attribute provides generally additional information about that element. So for example, right, let's say if I do something like a href, right, equals to, let's say, this is, I'm just taking an example, easy example, www.google.com, something like that, then close it, and then say like visit this website and close it, right? So the here the a element, it creates the link. Href is an attribute that tells the browser where the link should take the user. That's pretty easy way, right? So this is just an example. And the src attribute here is also there, which we can use when we are using images. So so we can do something like image src is equal to some image, then some heading, etc., that that users cannot see, which will cover it. So HTML is not only about placing content on screen, and good HTML, always gives content meaning. So instead of using random elements, developer use meaningful elements. These are known as semantic HTML elements, right? What we've been looking about for a while, like header, main, article, etc., right? So this is what it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create an HTML page, like the most easiest one, right? Just to see how things work, right? And see how this works. So nothing we're going to do. We're just going to come under title. We're going to say test web page, or you can write first web page. And you can write a paragraph if you want. Welcome to my first web page, right? And if you open it, it will show that welcome to my first web page, right? and it is running on a local server right now, right? So this is the welcome to the first web page. So welcome, you have created now your first website. So let's quickly recap. HTML stands for hypertext markup language. It provides a structure, meaning of a web page. Browsers reach HTML, render them as visible pages. HTML also uses elements, tags, and attributes to different types of content. It works with CSS for design and JavaScript for interactivity. And a good HTML should be structured, semantic, accessible, and easy to understand. In the next video, we will see how this beautiful thing you know uh, helps us further, right? Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.